Hey everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and today I just finished watching House of the Dragon Episode 5, and wow, things are getting real tense. You can see the stirrings beginning, you can see like war and conflict, like it's like at the boiling point almost. It's like about to happen, everything's about to explode. All the tension that we've built up for the last like 5 episodes is like, it's about to get crazy. Okay, so... man, what happened this episode? A lot of stuff happened. This was not like a very action heavy episode, except for, well, maybe at the end there's a little bit of action, but it was very tension filled and a lot of plot development occurred. So all right, let's get to it. So basically, as we know, the Hand got kicked out, and he got replaced by the one, I don't remember his name, but the one guy that actually seemed to be giving genuinely good advice with no ulterior motives. But before the Hand left, he tells his daughter, who is the queen, he's like, hey, just so you know, Rhaenyra is going to try to kill your son because your son is the one who everyone is going to think should be the king, not Rhaenyra. So now you have to choose between your son or Rhaenyra. So just so you know, so he's obviously like, he's such a manipulator, like he's stirring the pot even to his own daughter. He's like whispering these like things in her ear, getting inside of her head, so it's like, god, this guy sucks, right? Like, it's obviously he wants his own grandson to be on the throne, right? But man, even your own daughter, you're still like, and maybe he genuinely believes this, I don't know, but either way, it's like, this is what's gonna cause all these problems, is that it starts here with this guy, and then of course we have Rhaenyra has agreed to marry her cousin, but which, by the way, her cousin has a boyfriend, which that becomes a huge plot point at the end of this episode. So they make agreements to get married. They talk, the king is talking with what's his name, the sea snake, is that what his name is, the guy, right? The Valerians, he's talking about how, like, okay, they will be born with the last name Valerian, but when they take the throne, their name will change to Targaryen, like all these little, because he doesn't want the name Targaryen to go away, but the queen is a woman, so like traditionally the women change their names, so like it's this whole thing about how, little disagreements, but the person who's on the throne will have the last name Targaryen regardless of gender. That's what the king says, right? Which, by the way, the king is getting sicker and sicker and sicker. He is degrading, which, I don't think there's a time skip in this episode. I'm pretty sure this happens, obviously the Hand left, so this happens like not so long after the last episode. So like he is quickly fading away. The king is like just getting sicker and sicker. He's coughing everywhere. He's throwing up on the ship. Everything's going wrong for the king, right? So, they agree to get married. Basically, Rihanna and, I can't remember his, these names, man, these fantasy names, I can't remember. Anyways, but the son of the sea snake, her cousin, the person that she has agreed to marry, they have a conversation with him and his boyfriend, and basically they come to this agreement where, like, okay, you can do what you want, because, I understand you got different tastes, and this is purely a political marriage. We'll do our duty to the realm, that whole thing. And I'll go do what I want, which of course is her knights, Sir Criston, right? But Sir Criston's not entirely down with this, like they get back on the boat and she's like, hey, good news, I'm going to be queen, and this marriage is just political, but I talked to him. He's totally cool with like each of us just doing our own thing, but he's like, oh, my honor, and I took my vows, and I've I was supposed to have chastity and all that, like he took these vows as a knight in a king's guard and all that stuff, and now he's feeling like the only way he can regain any sense of honor is by marrying Rhaenyra and running away, and obviously that's not going to happen. She's like, no, we don't need to do that. So now he's pissed off, right? And he feels like he's dishonored himself, and this is interesting because like this episode is the first time we're really gonna focus on this guy, Sir Criston, because he basically explodes at the end of this episode. Oh, I completely forgot to mention, by the way, and this was kind of a shocking opening. So we see Damon go back to the Vale where he had a wife. Remember, they've mentioned this several times, and we see his first wife for the first time in the show. And she's riding horses, and she's like, "Oh, husband, you're finally back after who knows how many years, right?" Like, obviously they don't like each other, and they've never even consummated the marriage. And Damon's not saying a word, and she's just kind of, talking shit, which deservedly so, right? Damon's kind of an asshat, right? But then Damon like spooks the horse into throwing her off, which, oh man, horribly crushes her. And then she's still alive, and he picks up a rock, and we don't see it, but we're told that, like, oh, her skull got smashed open, and it was like, Jesus, man. So, yeah, it's Damon, obviously another master manipulator here, where it's like, 1 minute, he's like this evil dude, and the next minute, he's talking to Rhaenyra, and he seems like, oh, maybe he's just misunderstood. Maybe he's actually kind of a cool guy. And then now you see this happen, and you're like, oh, shit, no, he's not. He's not a cool guy. Never mind. He's not a cool guy at all. Jesus. Yeah, so she's gone, so now he is wifeless, which he brings up again later on. But basically what ends up happening is that, like, the king is getting sicker, and then Rhaenyra's agreed to marry her cousin. So they, we kind of fast forward a little bit to the wedding, right? Or at least, like, what precedes the wedding. It was going to be, like, we have this ceremony and everyone's here, and then there's going to be like 7 days of tournament, and then after that we're going to have a wedding. Well, all of that ends up going wrong. So this entire scene is playing out, right? Where like it's just filled with tension, and everyone's feasting and everyone's talking and everyone's kind of acknowledging looks, so basically what ends up happening is, oh man, well, lots of things. Okay. First of all, Alicent, which, yeah, I remember the name. Alicent ends up finding out that Rhaenyra had sex with her Kingsguard guy, right? She was asking him about Daemon, but there was like a misunderstanding, and he ends up confessing that, like, okay, yes, I slept with the princess, the Sir Criston, So he ends up confessing that, and he thought, like, okay, just put me to death instead of torturing me. That's all I ask, right? Instead, she just like, you can go, and so now Alicent's like pissed off because she was lied to, which, look, obviously she's got what her dad said to her swimming in her brain, right? Like, just all this manipulation happening, and now she finds out, oh, Rhaenyra did lie. She's not, she has lost her maidenhood, not, she didn't get the Daemon thing confirmed, but she did get the fact that she was lied to confirmed, So we cut back to the ceremony that they're having, and everyone's feasting, right? The king's giving this big speech about how, like, the families of the dragons are going to be united and everyone's strong and all this, right? And again, he's still insisting, yeah, Rhaenyra is the heir. This is happening, So he has not backtracked on that at all. This is, like, as of right now, it's still happening. Oh boy. So what we have is that the cousin, the one that Rhaenyra's gonna marry, I can't remember his name. It starts with an L. I don't remember his name. Anyways, his boyfriend is looking around, and I don't exactly know how, but he kind of puts it together that Sir Criston is the one that the princess was sleeping with, right? Like, the reason that they came up with this agreement, to kind of just do what they want. So he figured that out, and he tells the prince, right? Or he tells the person that Rhaenyra's marrying. He's like, hey, she knows our secret, and now you know her secret, and so, like, everyone can kind of get along. And then he goes, stupidly, I might add, he goes and talks to Sir Criston, this guy he doesn't know, and he's like, hey, just so you know, I know your secret, I know what you did with the princess, but we're all cool, right? Because, like, I'm messing around with the cousin there, and you're messing around with the princess, everything's cool, right? Which, of course, Sir Criston starts to get pissed off. He's like, ah, shit, because inside of his brain, he's like, I admitted everything I did to the queen, and I wasn't put to the death, and my honor is sullied, and, all this and that, right? Ooh, it's about to explode. So, and then we have Daemon comes in late, and he is confronted by the cousin of his ex-wife, his dead wife that he murdered. Yeah, he murdered her. I mean, he picked up a rock, so yeah, he definitely murdered her. And so there's confrontation there, and basically Daemon's like, hey, so I was her husband, so I get the veil, right? Like, wasn't she going to inherit the veil? So isn't the veil mine now? So Damon's obviously like looking to conquer things, and then he even has a moment with the other cousin, the girl, and he's kind of flirting with her, and she's kind of into it, and I'm sure something no good's gonna come from that, right? Damon's looking to spread his influence and get, like he already has like the stepstones, and now he's trying to go after the veil, and now who knows what else he's trying to get after, right? So he's slowly, not taking over, but he's slowly owning things, you know what I mean? Like, and then of course Alicent comes in, and remember, she's pissed off because she was lied to, and she comes in wearing green, which apparently is significant to her house, which is like their signal for war is everyone wears green, right? So that's a thing, right? And the king kind of like pauses and stares at her as she walks in, and no one says anything about it, but it's like, okay, she's wearing green. That basically means shit is about to happen. Like, does she, like, she's really pissed off about something? Who knows? Who knows exactly where this is going, what she plans on doing, but she's got plans. She's got stuff going on. Anyways, all this stuff is happening, and then, of course, Daemon comes back up to Rhaenyra, and Rhaenyra's, it's difficult to say how seriously she was being about this, but Rhaenyra talks to Daemon saying like, well, hey, did you come back to the castle? Because remember, he was kind of banished from the castle, but I guess he's back allowed for this wedding that's happening. And basically, she's like, did you come to finish what you started? Because remember, they didn't exactly finish what they started. Yeah. Anyways, but basically, she kind of jokes about like how, like, oh, you could take out all the Kingsguard, and you could take me to the Dragonstone and make me your wife and all this stuff, right? Like, just steal me by force, like kidnap me, right? And it's hard to be like, is she messing around, or is she like being serious about this happening right now? Like, how into this is Rhaenyra right now? Because it seems like she's completely like into it, right? Anyways, so we see like them almost maybe kiss, but the king can't quite see it, and the crowd's everywhere, and things are getting more tense, and the music's getting louder, and it's difficult to see exactly what's happening. And then a fight breaks out, and for the longest while, you're like, who is fighting? Who's pushing? Why are people screaming? What is happening? And it turns out Sir Criston has attacked the boyfriend of the guy, the boyfriend of the guy who's gonna get married, right? He's attacked his boyfriend because, of course, he walked up and was like, I know your secret, we're cool, right? And so, of course, Sir Criston's not cool with anyone knowing this, right? So he attacks him, and he's pushing everyone around, and he's just attacking this dude, smashing his face, and man, it gets pretty crazy. So after all that happens, right, everyone cleared out. There's a big bloody mess on the floor because Sir Criston just attacked this guy. He doesn't seem to get arrested at all, by the way. He just seems to walk away from that. Basically what we see is that Rhaenyra is just going to go through her wedding right then and there, right? There's still blood on the floor, by the way, and a rat is coming to like lick up the blood, which I'm sure symbolizes something. But they just go ahead and get married right then and there instead of waiting the 7 days and all this and that. And the king collapses. So I don't think he's dead. I'm pretty sure there's like a preview where it's like, okay, he's not dead, but he is degrading very quickly. He's not going to be alive for long. And so they are now married, right? They didn't bother with the whole tournament thing, and the boyfriend was just attacked, so he's dead. And Sir Criston goes to kill himself. He takes a knife, and which again, it's weird that he wasn't like arrested or anything. Like there was like seemingly no consequences for him just killing this guy in front of everyone. But he goes to kill himself, and he's stopped by Alicent, and we don't know exactly why or what her plans are. But obviously, she's planning something, right? Because now she's, maybe she thinks he has more information or something. I don't know, but. Oh man, things got real tense. So Alicent is pissed off at Rhaenyra, and there's definitely gonna be like some plan happening there. And then Daemon is slowly taking over everything. Who knows what he's doing, right? He's flirting with the cousin. He's still flirting with Rhaena. Like, what is his plan exactly? None of this seems genuine. By the way, like it's all about a power grab, basically. Like he doesn't seem to actually care about anyone. I don't think. Oh man, and of course, Sir Criston he wanted to kill himself, and he wanted to die, basically. But now, of course, you have the guy who just got married. He's gonna want to go kill Sir Kristen, and things are getting tense. Things are happening. The war is stirring and brewing, right? Like, so now you have the two houses of the dragons united. But then, of course, you're gonna have Alicent, who's the queen, who's gonna be, she's definitely gonna start being like, hey, you know what? Who cares about Rhaenyra? Let's make our son the king, and she's gonna start pushing that, definitely. So, oh man, things are getting crazy. This show is masterful at tension, like, I don't know everything. I know like vaguely what is going to happen, but I haven't like looked it up in detail, which I think is for the best, right? Like, it's kind of unavoidable that you'll learn vagueness of like, okay, I kind of know the direction this all goes, but I don't know the details. And obviously the show is changing a couple things, which, hey, look at that, a show is changing stuff from the source material and it's fine and no one's complaining. Oh my god. Anyways, but yeah, I think this episode definitely demonstrates the difference between a show like this and a show like Rings of Power. Rings of Power is high fantasy, it's lighthearted, it's all about optimism, it's all, like it's about good versus evil, your basic stuff, right? Whereas this is about betrayal and tension and drama, and that's what makes it so captivating, is that it's all tension filled, but it's essentially two different genres, like this is like grounded fantasy and that's high fantasy. That's really the difference here. So I don't know. I've seen a lot of people comparing these two shows, which I understand, right? Like, they're two massive IP, big budget fantasy shows happening at the same exact time. Makes sense to compare them, but the difference is, it's just highlighting the differences in what they're trying to be. Like, obviously Rings of Power is trying to be classical high fantasy Tolkien world, so it's not this drama and betrayals and all this and that, like it doesn't have a whole lot of that. I mean, it has some of it, but you know what I mean. It's not like this, where this is just like, how dramatic can we make this moment, because you're gonna be at the edge of your seat going like, what's gonna happen, who's gonna explode, so it's just interesting to see the differences. But yeah, House of the Dragon, man, things are about to explode, war is about to happen, and I'm still just really loving this show. Anyway, so let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.